Yash, will they let us talk or no? So folks, I'm a film critic. My job is to look at films, not so much at box office, but this man doesn't give me a choice, right? What a year you've had. What a year. 1,250 crores box office for KGF2 global grosses. Okay? Guys, 54 crores, only the Hindi version opening, which is a record in Bollywood that has not been broken. Yash, Yeah, I'm going to need some crowd control from you.
Sorry.
You're going to have to help with the crowd control.
Yes. Solpotto.
So, Yash, you and that film have been instrumental in bringing audiences back to the theaters this year. Why do you think Rocky Bhai connected so strongly just across the world?
See, generally what happens is, in a previous interview also, I think we discussed about this. So the issues what masses have, or they need some kind of inspiration. They need somebody to motivate them. So that may not come from books, or they may not attend some personality development course. Cinema is one such medium. I know it's about action, gangster, all of that, but deep down, that's about one common man who's got a lot of difficulties, and nothing is easy or ideal situation for him. But he surpasses all the difficulties in style, with conviction, and he goes and he achieves it. That is something which everybody today wants to do or connect, because we need to give them confidence. Most of the people, they are like crushed in the beginning. The way society tells you that this is how, if I have to speak about my industry, this is how a star should be. This is how he should look. This is what, these are the type of clothes he should have. So there is some set rules where society is unknowingly pushing it on youngsters or today's generation. So they're confused, including me. I was confused. So the moment you realize it's all within you, and if you decide, nothing can stop you, and everything will change. You can change. Change doesn't happen on its own. You have to take action. So if they realize that, then they will definitely get inspired. Rocky did that to them, and I think there is Rocky in everybody is what I feel.
One of my favorite scenes in the film is early on. You get down from the helicopter, you put yourself at the head of the table where all the other bad guys have gathered, right? And then you drop that killer line about nepotism, which I just loved. And then you say, I've got here on merit, right? Rocky Bhai is saying, I've got here on merit. And a little later in that scene, you say that you can't create another Rocky Bhai to kill me because there's one and only piece. Right? Now that Yash is also you, right? You are here on merit. You are a single piece. I want to talk to you about this conviction, okay? Because you go back to it in your conversation a lot. What does conviction mean on a day-to-day basis? How do you have, what do you do? On a day-to-day basis, you wake up and do what to have that belief?
I think to answer your first portion, when we put that nepotism, that was not, there was no such development in the industry. That was shot much before lockdown and all of that. So the idea was, it's a burning issue. So it doesn't mean that people who have come from film background or film family, it's not against them. Nepotism, according to me, is not about some actor's son or some producer's son coming into industry. It's not about that. It's about them trying to put others down. acting as if they are blue blood or they are royalty. That is wrong. So that's there in most of the fields. It's not just cinema. But cinema, it's visible and people talk about it, criticize, and it's like little vulnerable industry. If not everywhere, that is there. But if as a country or as a society, if we have to evolve or go to next level, we should encourage talent, we should encourage merit. So the idea was, even in gangsters, even in underworld, if you are talking about nepotism, that was a confusion. When I just, we were discussing, I said, this is the best time to tell him nepotism. Here also. So everybody's like, isn't it too high a word? Will people understand? I don't know. Then that became like a big thing everywhere. Everybody started discussing. So then most of the people understood. But the point is not to put anybody down from the industry. It's to inspire any individual. For me, from the beginning, all I had is confidence and vision. And when I look at people who are trying to intimidate you with power or with just the background, if you do it, good, we respect you. But at the same time, because somebody has done it in your family or that, we give you love, we respect you. When you mutually respect everybody, that's fine in any industry. But don't use it as a weapon to intimidate others. So somebody like me, I think it's most of the people's issue and they have it in them. Somebody like me, if I represent, then that's when the CT comes. And on a daily basis, I think all of us go through that. I'm not somebody who's like 24/7 confident, or I'm not somebody, but most of the time I am.
Really?
Because I don't think about what to lose, or it's about you. You be yourself, and the whole world will sense it. If you try to act, if you try to pretend, or if you try to impress someone, that's when you lose respect. If you be yourself, and if you don't care about, not with arrogance, if you don't care about what others are thinking about you, judging you, then everybody will like you if you're real and if you have that confidence. And I think it's a constant process. I get inspired by looking at a lot of other fellow actors, or competition is something which I feel it is very important in the industry. I've always been telling about it. It's not just about one individual. So I always tell, KGF was not to intimidate. The vision of KGF was to inspire. That I wanted everybody to believe that anybody can go out and achieve. It's not like we are not inferior, or it's not like an impossible task. I always believe everybody comes to this world as a baby. I've never seen or come across any story where somebody has come with all might and power. So they all develop it. So if they can, even we can. That's about it. You keep motivating yourself. Set a goal. That's what I believe. You set a goal, and then take actions, what it requires and what kind of people you have to associate, and then just keep going. Don't care about rest of the things. Success and failure is like, it's not, trust me when I say this, even after this success, it's not success which gives us happiness. It's about the journey. When you see that, when nobody else is even thinking of it, or if they can't imagine, but you are seeing it absolutely with such clarity that it's as if it's there waiting for you, that's the fun part. So set a high goal. Set a goal which should look like, there's a saying, no? If you tell your goal, people should be scared. If not, it is not a goal. Buying a house, buying a car, or settling down, having a good family is not a goal. That's basic. We will end up set high goals. Then I think individually everybody can, if everybody starts thinking like that, many things can happen for this country. Because we just talk about our country was great back then, our civilization was like that. So I can go on and on about this topic because that changed my life. Belief system changed my life.
You know what intrigues me, Yash, is that after this massive blockbuster, you didn't give 30 interviews. Okay, you didn't post creatives talking about box office here, opening there. You, in fact, didn't give any interviews. You just went quiet, which is a very unique way to approach stardom. Why have you chosen this?
I think that's how an actor should be or a star should be, because they all, we are the channel for the dream world. I'm like the bridge. They need to pass through us when they see some actors or some stories, they listen to stories. Through those characters, through us, they travel. If it is too much about me, and if they know everything about me, I don't know where they will be able to relate to those characters. So for me, I think it's my job, one. Second, and I don't believe in going out and talking about, this is saying, if you're a king, if you're telling you're a king, then you're not a king. So anybody who has success, or doing really great in life, I don't think they have to go out and show that they're successful or doing it. People will know it. I know my audience or my fans, all of them are really smart. We are trying to cope up because they consume a lot of content. They understand the world better. So if I think I am smart and I'm trying to project something, they will read it. Okay, this guy is doing this because he wants to show he's bigger than that actor or this actor. So you better be real. And they will sense it, and they will tell the whole world. I think it's nice when it comes from people.
How fabulous. Speaking of conquering, what is the next big world domination plan?
Remember once I told you audience will tell me what to do next. You asked me, what do you mean by audience or people will tell you? See, if you listen to them, you will know.
Hollywood?
They are thinking Hollywood. No, when I say it's not about Hollywood, it's about trying to achieve things which always looked like only they can do. Or again, same thing. It's not that as a country also we have so many such inhibitions. You know what? The best CG company in the world, or the one of the best who are doing good, is an Indian. I met him, Namit. So he's got so many Oscars. So happy to see our people going and achieving those things and establishing. And like that, there are so many people there also who are working there, and they've understood that market, all of that. But now it's time to see what we can do as an industry. I think most of the people are looking towards that. And as we have India on our side, we can take that challenge, because the kind of budgets we can put or the kind of support audience are giving. And some people even say it's not about budget, it's about content. Yes, true. But there are certain things. To achieve certain kind of film, you need that budget or you need that. So we can take that kind of responsibility. We'll try. And there are so many people who might do that in our country. But I think we all should take inspiration from each other and keep trying. That's it.
But Yash, give us a little more, no? When will you announce?
No, I'm not saying my next film will be Hollywood or that. You just asked me what's next. For me, my vision is, let me go towards it. Let me work towards content. Let me work with people who are hungry and passionate. I don't want to work with people who are looking at my box office number and come and tell me that, okay, we'll do this film so we can... No, I want to work with people who say, you have done this. You can do this. Or can we try something else here? Or let us do this, something very exciting. That is where I'm looking at. I think I'm working on a couple of things. But the fact is, I've met a couple of people. Their vision is good. They have come up with good scripts. Or I've also spent time with a couple of people working on scripts. But somewhere, I think all of it starts with, are we aligned? Is the vision same? Because as an individual story, that might be good. May not work for what I want to achieve now or where I want to go. and there are certain talented directors who I just worked with, but I don't think their exposure or what they are thinking right now is not the same thing. So we are just aligning, and I think I have been looking for it. I don't want to talk much because there is nothing left. After that, anybody won't be excited if I come out and tell, because they will have an idea. But I'm working. I'm not taking this success for granted. 24/7 from morning to night. I just think of cinema. I just think of our people. I always believed whenever they have given me success, it is not because what I have done, it is because of what they see in me, what they want me to do. So I know what they are expecting out of me. At least I'll try doing it. That's all I can say. It's something very nice, which I will enjoy. I don't know how they will feel it, but it's good. Things are going well, but it will take time. In my head, there is no time. For me, time is irrelevant. As far as I'm waking up early in the morning, hitting the gym, doing all my actor duties, plus 24/7, I'm brainstorming of doing, giving a better product, giving a good film for them. How can things go wrong? I don't, I'm not doing things which is irrelevant to my industry. I'm just trying to do what it takes to make a good film. So it should fall in place. It will. It looks like it is falling in place. That's all I can say.
Lovely. We hope soon. Soon.
Very soon. See, No. The problem is, I know all of you are expecting on Jan 8th. That's my birthday. I really want to, but if it is half-baked, I don't think I will come out, because for me, it is not about me, it is not about my birthday, nothing. It's about the product, it's about the project. When it is right time, I will come out and tell. Please, I want you people to understand that I'm not irresponsible, I'm not having fun with the success. I'm really trying to get things right. That's all I can say.
Lovely.
Congratulations to all the UC San Diego graduates, and also congratulations to the parents and the friends who are attending this memorable occasion this morning. I came here all the way from Bangladesh, so I have to give you the greetings from the other side of the planet. So I come almost halfway coming here, and it's worth it. You are graduating from UC San Diego. This is a special privilege. You remember how many young people in the world don't have a chance to go to school?
Sure.
How many of them can't make it to college? And those who get to college never make it to finish it. And you're privileged. Not only you went to college, you went to UC San Diego, one of the most dominant universities, top universities in the world. We just heard from the Chancellor. So this privilege that you have to remember, and you have to ask yourself what use you're going to make of it. That's the important thing. Preparing for life is one part, and using that preparation is another part. So that's the question I'll be raising with you, and probably you'll be raising with yourself, to beginning today, to making sure you make good use of it. And my journey began in the campus of another university back in Bangladesh, in Chittagong University. And Bangladesh is full of problems, as you can imagine. And when I went back after finishing my PhD here, it was extreme kind of problems in the country. And I felt that I'm a lucky person that I'm from Bangladesh. I was born in Bangladesh. It has so many problems. If you lift a finger, you can touch hundreds of problems right around you. And that's exciting for a young person to look at those problems and see what I can do about it. There are so many of them, I can do something about it. And I wonder, if I was born in a country where there's no problem, what would have happened to me? Every time I think about it, I feel I'll be bored to death. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. There's no problem. So this is how I reacted to it, and I didn't wait for any prepackaged solutions. I always tried to do in my own way. I look at the problem, I try to figure out the solution on my own, in my own way. I didn't wait for anybody else to help me. When I saw the problem in the village about the loan sharking, it's a kind of age-old problem everywhere in the region, everywhere in the world. But nobody seemed to do anything about it. And I see face to face in a village next door to the university campus. Suddenly occurred to me, I can do something about it. Why don't I lend money myself? If I lend money, people don't have to go to loan sharks. Then the problem is solved. What's the big deal? So I started lending money out of my own pocket. There's a very tiny amount of money needed. And I saw how eagerly they were coming to me to borrow that money so that they don't have to go to loan shark. And that was the beginning of something which I never dreamt of would happen. Creating something called microcredit. And it started lending money, it just expanded, created a bank out of it. It started in 1976. We converted it into a bank, formal bank, in 1983, and it became a nationwide bank. And the thing that we do became known as microcredit, microfinance, and every other country wanted to imitate that, follow that. Today in Bangladesh, the Grameen Bank, the bank that I created, has over 8.5 million borrowers, mostly women. 97% of them are women, destitute women who joined Grameen Bank. Not only they borrow money from Grameen Bank, they own the bank itself. They sit in the board of the bank, they decide the policies of the bank. So it's a very strange bank in that way. It's a bank owned by poor women. It's a bank which is run by poor women as a policymakers. And we have been, let me take it off. It's trying to blow away. It's a bank which is at the service of the poor women everywhere. The basic principle that we put right away, people should not come to bank should go to people. Still, wherever the microcredit programs are done, it's the same principle. They don't have to come to the program. The people go and serve them at their doorstep. So all these 8.5 million borrowers in all the villages of Bangladesh, which is 80,000 villages in Bangladesh, we meet them every week, serve them at their doorstep. And people think lending tiny little money is what is microcredit. That's not true. The whole microcredit is challenging the existing banking system. We are almost opposite of the conventional banking. People tell me, how did you decide the rules and policies of the bank? How do you design all those things, all the intricate details? I say it's very simple. Whenever we needed a policy and we needed a rule, we just look at the conventional bank, how they do it. Then we do the other way. We do the opposite. They go to the rich, we go to the poor. They go to men, we go to women. They go to the city center, we go to remote villages. Even today, after 40 years of our work, still there's not a single branch of Grameen Bank. Grameen Bank has 2,600 branches in the country of Bangladesh. Not a single branch is located in any city, any town, any township in the country. So all in the village. So we reverse that. Conventional banks ask for collateral. We dismiss that thing. We said it's a wall which separates people, poor people, from the banking system. We just do business on the basis of trust. Since there is no collateral, there is no document, there is no legal document between the lender and the borrower. Since there is no legal document, there's no lawyer in our bank. It's the only bank in the world which is lawyer-free. You can walk in anytime and ask for a loan, provided you are a poor person. Only thing you have to substantiate very satisfactorily that you are extremely poor. Again, this is the reverse of the banking system. In the banking system, you have to explain how rich you are, and then they give money. And their rule is, the more you have, the more you can get. So we reversed the entire banking system. Today, almost half the population of the entire world is deprived from the banking services. We wanted to fill that, since it's not impossible to do that. So the whole thing began because I tried to do something in a way I thought it will be a solution for the people to stay away from the loan sharks. Now that became a challenge to the entire banking system, because most of the problem we created in the world is because of the banking system. Take the case of wealth concentration. All the wealth of the world is concentrated in few hands. 99% of the wealth of the world is owned by 1% of the population. If you reverse it, 99% of the population of the world own only 1% of the wealth of the world. That's not a good world. That's the challenge to you. How do you reverse it? That's what you have to think. Because this is not sustainable. Each day it's becoming worse. So if you keep on doing exactly the way we do it, tomorrow there'll be 99.5% of the world owned by less than 1% of the population of the world. And it will get worse day after tomorrow. So that's the challenge we have to take and make it the other way. And we continue to look for those solutions. We look at the problems that the poor people face, many problems, health problems, education problems, sanitation problems, you name it. Every time I see a problem in the village that I work in, I try to address that problem by creating a business. And I created a business after business because there are so many problems. So I keep on creating businesses to solve those problems. And people say, why are you doing that? Why? You must be making a lot of money by doing this business. I said, no, I don't make any money out of these businesses. Then why do you run businesses? Because then my answer is I enjoy it. So they can figure out, how can one run business without making money for himself? And he says he enjoys it. I said, is there any law in the country that if you decide not to take profit from the company, you'll be punished for that? I said, there is no law. So I'm just taking advantage of it. I don't take the profit out of the company. The entire company is devoted to solving problems. Then I realized, again, I'm challenging something else, the whole concept of business itself. There's only one concept of business in the whole world, business to make money, personal money. And I said, no, I don't want to make personal money. I want to solve problems. And I started calling these kind of businesses as social businesses, and defined it by saying it's a non-dividend company to solve human problems. And I continued to create those things. And gradually it became very noticeable. Some big companies wanted to do business with us. We agreed to do that. Among the many things that I created as a social business, I'll just give one example out of many in Bangladesh. Bangladesh doesn't have much of electricity. Villages don't have electricity, they have they have just lamps, kerosene lamps. And 22 years back, I thought, why don't we bring solar energy in the Bangladesh? I have no idea about solar energy, all I read in the newspaper, that's all. So I talked to people who knows about solar energy. They said, no, it doesn't fit good in Bangladesh. It's good for Europe, it's good for North America, but not for Bangladesh. I said, why not? So I figured that out. I said, I can make it happen. I created a business, created a company called Grameen Shakti or Grameen Energy. And it started selling solar home system in the villages. In the beginning, it was extremely difficult to sell 4 or 5 solar home systems per month. But we never gave it up. We continued. 20 years later, we were selling 1,000 solar home systems per day. It became a huge business, a social business. Today, we have more than 2 million households in Bangladesh with solar energy. It became so popular through our company that other people came in, NGOs came in, companies came in to sell solar home systems. In total, today, more than 4 million homes in Bangladesh are served by solar energy, just out of nowhere. So this became the largest off-grid solar system in the whole world. So this is what it can. So it's an idea. You don't have to know everything. I didn't know anything about banking. And people tell me, what is the best thing that happened that you could create Grameen Bank? I said, best thing that happened to me, I never took a course in banking. I didn't have to learn anything about it. Since I didn't know anything, I could do anything I want. Sometimes not knowing the details is a blessing. So you can figure it out yourself. And when you figure it out, it will be different than what is in the book. So don't give up on something that you don't know. Always take advantage of it. Make sure it happens. I mentioned lots of big businesses are doing business with us. They are interested in social business. I'll just give one example. We have done many, like with Danone, with Veolia, with BSF, with McCain of Canada. The one from the US, we do the business joint venture with Intel Corporation. What we have done, we are very worried about the maternal death in Bangladesh. So out of Intel Corporation's collaborations, we designed a part of bangles. The bangle which will give you two things. One, give you the signals or alarm when the air quality in the home, in the house that you're working, goes above a certain level, because fume hurts the pregnant women and their baby. So we wanted to check, because one of the cause of death in Bangladesh, major cause of death in Bangladesh, is the air quality inside the kitchen. So we want to address that. So this bangle, this beautiful piece of ornament, if you look at it, nobody will suspect that you are wearing very high-tech ornament in your hand. That gives you an alarm bell as soon as the quality of the air goes above a certain level. And it gives you a voice message. You get out of the house, open all the windows and doors until you have a better air quality, and you come back. Then also it gives voice messages. This is the 5th month of your pregnancy. These are the symptoms that you will feel. If you feel that way, it's okay. This is normal. Don't worry about it. If you have symptoms like this, press this button, we'll get in touch with you. So this is a communication. This is a kind of giving advice to young women. We are trying to make more and more into that bangle so that nobody has to die at childbirth. It's a common thing all over the world. The women die at childbirth because they don't know it was a risky pregnancy. We are trying to identify the risky pregnancies. So we continue to do that. One of the major problems that we face, the children of Grameen families, their parents are illiterate. We wanted to make sure all the children go to school. So it became part of Grameen Bank's program to encourage their parents to send the children to school. And we achieved 100% enrollment by the children of Grameen families. And then they came to college. We gave them education loans so that they can go to the college, so they don't have to worry about money. And many went to higher education, went to get their master's degree, get their PhDs. Grameen Bank provided the support. Then it created a problem. Thousands and thousands of those young people coming out of the colleges and universities with degrees, no jobs. They keep complaining. Why did we have education? There is no job. In the beginning, I didn't know how to respond to that. Then I figured out what to say. Then I challenged them. I said, who asked you to have a job? They couldn't answer that question. Did your book tell you that you have to have a job? Did your teacher tell you to have a job? And I tell them, always remember, job is a wrong idea. Don't ever look for a job. Always tell yourself that I'm a job creator. I'm not a job seeker, I'm a job creator. So be a job creator. This is a fundamental thing that remains with me. I believe that all human beings are born as entrepreneurs. And we are told, go the wrong direction. Look for jobs. I said, human beings are packed with unlimited creative capacity. And if you take a job, that's, in most of the cases, that's the end of your creativity.
Yes. Good.
Even if you are allowed some part of your creativity to be used in your job, mostly in selling some insignificant product, insignificant things, that's about the creativity you can use. Otherwise, it's a repetitive process. A human being who is full of energy, full of creative capacity, taking a job, sacrificing the totality of this creativity, and rest of the life in kind of stay in a little corner of the creative life. So I said, don't ever dream of that. Be a creative person, become an entrepreneur. So in order to make it happen, so what we did, we created a social business fund and asked every young person, come with a business idea. And once you come up with a business idea, we invest in your business. We become your partner. We invest all the money that you need. And it's a joint venture between you and us. Make it successful, return the money we gave you. We are a social business. We are not interested in your profit. We are a problem-solving business. So we solve your problem. We put you on the orbit. You go wherever you want to go. And they love it. Initially, we started with hundreds. Now we have thousands of them coming with business ideas. And hopefully, there will be multiples of thousands very soon, and every month. We'll go that. Everybody turns themselves into entrepreneurs. People say, even they were arguing that, oh, some of us may not be entrepreneurs. I said, look, that's not true. Look at your mother. Your mother is a Grameen Bank borrower. She started with a tiny loan, $30, $20. And she turned herself into an entrepreneur. If millions of these women, illiterate women, can become entrepreneurs, what good is your education if you're looking for jobs and then sit idle, say, I am unemployed? No human being should remain unemployed. So one of the things, unemployment is totally artificial concept, created by our wrong thinking. When we came to this planet, we are not sitting around in the caves saying that we are unemployed. We are not sending job applications from cave number 5 to cave number 10. Do you have a job? We are natural entrepreneurs. We are go-getters. We are problem solvers. Our education system made us forget that. Made us into tiny little job seekers. So unless we come out of this, discover ourselves, that's the chance you got. Discover yourself. Be somebody that you want to be. And find out who you are. What you want to do. What's the purpose of your life? Without defining your purpose of life, everything will become immaterial. It doesn't have any direction. So what I do, I put my purpose of life or my destination of life in 3 zeros. Zero number 1, zero poverty in the world. This is what I work for every day. So that we can create a world. We can create a world, there's not a single person anywhere in the world will remain a poor person. And then I say we create poverty museums so that next generation will go to the poverty museums to find out what poverty used to be like. And that's a goal. It's a doable goal. There's nothing wrong with human being. Only system put us in the wrong direction. So we have to undo that system which pushes us in the wrong direction. We have to fix the financial system. We have to fix the education system so that we discover ourselves, our worth. We unleash our energy, unleash our creative capacity, rather than become job seekers. The education system should not end with the job application. Education system would end with the grand ideas about creating a new world. Zero number 2, for me, zero unemployment in the world. Again, I said there is no reason why anybody anywhere in the world should be unemployed. Why anybody in the world should be on welfare. Why anybody in the world just be homeless. There's no reason whatsoever. The same human quality exists in every single human being. Third zero is zero net carbon emission. We have to do it. We can do it. Finally, the non-believers are coming to become believers. We had a signed agreement in Paris, and we make sure we make it happen very fast. It can be done. When we put all this together, 3 zeros implemented, all the zeros are accomplished, we laid down the foundation of another world. We create new civilization for us. The old civilization that we are going through is not something take us out of the problems that we got, because our thinking is wrong, our formulations are wrong. So we have to reformulate. We have to create a new civilization, which coming out of the civilization which based on personal selfishness, the civilization based on greed. We have to get out of that selfishness and get out of that greed and create a civilization based on human values. That's the challenge you have. And we can make it together. That's the challenge. We take it, and that's what is worthwhile going to UC San Diego and make it happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gertrude Mongella, for your dedicated work that has brought us to this point. Distinguished delegates and guests, I would like to thank the Secretary General for inviting me to be part of this important United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women. This is truly a celebration of the contributions women make in every aspect of life, in the home, on the job, in the community, as mothers, wives, sisters, daughters, learners, workers, citizens, and leaders. It is also a coming together, much the way women come together every day in every country. We come together in fields and factories, in village markets and supermarkets, in living rooms and boardrooms. Whether it is while playing with our children in the park or washing clothes in a river, or taking a break at the office water cooler, we come together and talk about our aspirations and concerns. And time and again, our talk turns to our children and our families. However different we may appear, there is far more that unites us than divides us. We share a common future, and we are here to find common ground so that we may help bring new dignity and respect to women and girls all over the world, and in so doing, bring new strength and stability to families as well. By gathering in Beijing, we are focusing world attention on issues that matter most in our lives, the lives of women and their families: access to education, health care, jobs, and credit, the chance to enjoy basic legal and human rights, and to participate fully in the political life of our countries. There are some who question the reason for this conference. Let them listen to the voices of women in their homes, neighborhoods, and workplaces. There are some who wonder whether the lives of women and girls matter to economic and political progress around the globe. Let them look at the women gathered here and at Wairo, the homemakers and nurses, the teachers and lawyers, the policymakers, and women who run their own businesses. It is conferences like this that compel governments and peoples everywhere to listen, look, and face the world's most pressing problems. Wasn't it, after all, after the Women's Conference in Nairobi 10 years ago, that the world focused for the first time on the crisis of domestic violence? Earlier today, I participated in a World Health Organization forum. In that forum, we talked about ways that Government officials, NGOs, and individual citizens are working to address the health problems of women and girls. Tomorrow, I will attend a gathering of the United Nations Development Fund for Women. There, the discussion will focus on local and highly successful programs that give hard-working women access to credit so they can improve their own lives and the lives of their families. What we are learning around the world is that if women are healthy and educated, their families will flourish. If women are free from violence, their families will flourish. If women have a chance to work and earn as full and equal partners in society, their families will flourish. And when families flourish, communities and nations do as well. That is why every woman, every man, every child, every family, and every nation on this planet does have a stake in the discussion that takes place here. Over the past 25 years, I have worked persistently on issues relating to women, children, and families. Over the past 2.5 years, I've had the opportunity to learn more about the challenges facing women in my own country and around the world. I have met new mothers in Indonesia who come together regularly in their village to discuss nutrition, family planning, and baby care. I have met working parents in Denmark who talk about the comfort they feel in knowing that their children can be cared for in safe and nurturing after-school centers. I have met women in South Africa who helped lead the struggle to end apartheid and are now helping to build a new democracy. I have met with the leading women of my own hemisphere who are working every day to promote literacy and better health care for children in their countries. I have met women in India and Bangladesh who are taking out small loans to buy milk cows or rickshaws or thread in order to create a livelihood for themselves and their families. I have met the doctors and nurses in Belarus and Ukraine who are trying to keep children alive in the aftermath of Chernobyl. The great challenge of this conference is to give voice to women everywhere whose experiences go unnoticed, whose words go unheard. Women comprise more than half the world's population, 70% of the world's poor, and 2/3 of those who are not taught to read and write. We are the primary caretakers for most of the world's children and elderly, yet much of the work we do is not valued, not by economists, not by historians, not by popular culture, not by government leaders. At this very moment, as we sit here, women around the world are giving birth, raising children, cooking meals, washing clothes, cleaning houses, planting crops, working on assembly lines, running companies, and running countries. Women also are dying from diseases that should have been prevented or treated. They are watching their children succumb to malnutrition caused by poverty and economic deprivation. They are being denied the right to go to school by their own fathers and brothers. They are being forced into prostitution, and they are being barred from the bank lending offices and banned from the ballot box. Those of us who have the opportunity to be here have the responsibility to speak for those who could not. As an American, I want to speak for women in my own country, women who are raising children on the minimum wage, women who can't afford health care or child care, women whose lives are threatened by violence, including violence in their own homes. I want to speak up for mothers who are fighting for good schools, safe neighborhoods, clean air, and clean airwaves. For older women, some of them widows, who find that after raising their families, their skills and life experiences are not valued in the marketplace. For women who are working all night as nurses, hotel clerks, or fast food chefs so that they can be at home during the day with their children. And for women everywhere who simply don't have time to do everything they are called upon to do each and every day. Speaking to you today, I speak for them just as each of us speaks for women around the world who are denied the chance to go to school or see a doctor or own property or have a say about the direction of their lives simply because they are women. The truth is that most women around the world work both inside and outside the home, usually by necessity. We need to understand there is no one formula for how women should lead our lives. That is why we must respect the choices that each woman makes for herself and her family. Every woman deserves the chance to realize her own God-given potential. But we must recognize that women will never gain full dignity until their human rights are respected and protected. Our goals for this conference to strengthen families and societies by empowering women to take greater control over their own destinies cannot be fully achieved unless all governments here and around the world accept their responsibility to protect and promote internationally recognized human rights. The international community has long acknowledged and recently reaffirmed at Vienna that both women and men are entitled to a range of protections and personal freedoms, from the right of personal security to the right to determine freely the number and spacing of the children they bear. No one should be forced to remain silent for fear of religious or political persecution, arrest, abuse, or torture. Tragically, women are most often the ones whose human rights are violated. Even now, in the late 20th century, the rape of women continues to be used as an instrument of armed conflict. Women and children make up a large majority of the world's refugees. And when women are excluded from the political process, they become even more vulnerable to abuse. I believe that now, on the eve of a new millennium, it is time to break the silence. It is time for us to say here in Beijing, and for the world to hear, that it is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights. These abuses have continued because for too long, the history of women has been a history of silence. Even today, there are those who are trying to silence our words. But the voices of this conference and of the women at YRO must be heard loudly and clearly. It is a violation of human rights when babies are denied food or drowned or suffocated or their spines broken simply because they are born girls. It is a violation of human rights when women and girls are sold into the slavery of prostitution for human greed, and the kinds of reasons that are used to justify this practice should no longer be tolerated. It is a violation of human rights when women are doused with gasoline, set on fire, and burned to death because their marriage dowries are deemed too small. It is a violation of human rights when individual women are raped in their own communities and when thousands of women are subjected to rape as a tactic or prize of war. It is a violation of human rights when a leading cause of death worldwide among women ages 14 to 44 is the violence they are subjected to in their own homes by their own relatives. It is a violation of human rights when young girls are brutalized by the painful and degrading practice of genital mutilation. It is a violation of human rights when women are denied the right to plan their own families, and that includes being forced to have abortions or being sterilized against their will. If there is one message that echoes forth from this conference, let it be that human rights are women's rights and women's rights are human rights once and for all. And among those rights are the right to speak freely and the right to be heard. Women must enjoy the rights to participate fully in the social and political lives of their countries if we want freedom and democracy to thrive and endure. It is indefensible that many women in non-governmental organizations who wish to participate in this conference have not been able to attend or have been prohibited from fully taking part. Let me be clear. Freedom means the right of people to assemble, organize, and debate openly. It means respecting the views of those who may disagree with the views of their governments. It means not taking citizens away from their loved ones and jailing them, mistreating them, or denying them their freedom or dignity because of the peaceful expression of their ideas and opinions. In my country, we recently celebrated the 75th anniversary of women's suffrage. It took 150 years after the signing of our Declaration of Independence for women to win the right to vote. It took 72 years of organized struggle before that happened on the part of many courageous women and men. It was one of America's most divisive philosophical wars, but it was a bloodless war. Suffrage was achieved without a shot being fired. But we have also been reminded in VJ Day observances last weekend of the good that comes when men and women join together to combat the forces of tyranny and to build a better world. We have seen peace prevail in most places for a half century. We have avoided another world war. But we have not solved older, deeply rooted problems that continue to diminish the potential of half the world's population. Now it is the time to act on behalf of women everywhere. If we take bold steps to better the lives of women, we will be taking bold steps to better the lives of children and families too. Families rely on mothers and wives for emotional support and care. Families rely on women for labor in the home. And increasingly everywhere, families rely on women for income needed to raise healthy children and care for other relatives. As long as discrimination and inequities remain so commonplace everywhere in the world, as long as girls and women are valued less, fed last, overworked, underpaid, not schooled, subjected to violence in and outside their homes, the potential of the human family to create a peaceful, prosperous world will not be realized. Let this conference be our and the world's call to action. Let us heed that call so we can create a world in which every woman is treated with respect and dignity. Every boy and girl is loved and cared for equally. And every family has the hope of a strong and stable future. That is the work before you. That is the work before all of us who have a vision of the world we want to see for our children and our grandchildren. The time is now. We must move beyond rhetoric. We must move beyond recognition of problems to working together to have the common efforts to build that common ground we hope to see. God's blessings on you, your work, and all who will benefit from it. Godspeed, and thank you very much.
It's a proud privilege to be in DRDO today. This is the institution which is the backbone of India's strategic military research, an institution that allows us to boast of a place in select nations with ICBM capabilities, an institution that helps us to stay non-aligned in an extremely geopolitically sensitive world that we live in today. And of course, the institution that has always helped us to maintain operational dominance and battleworthiness every time this nation has gone to war. I salute all of you, the scientists, the technical advisors, the non-technical staff who make up this great organization. So when Tessie ma'am asked me to join all of you today, I was wondering what I should talk to you about. Thought to myself, these are scientists, highly qualified people who have dedicated their life to a very serious task, science and technology, R&D. I'm sure a task which means that every other priority in their life takes a backseat. Men and women, irrespective of their caste, their religion, their upbringing, their gender, come together, work in tandem, and achieve something which is bigger than their individual name and fame. They contribute to the nation-building cause, to its security concerns. And for this, to my mind, is what makes great organizations. As we move towards a more equal and humanist world, I repeat, not a feminist one, but an equal and humanist world, we must begin to realize and recognize that leadership and competence has no gender. I'm sure all the women out here will agree with me that our mothers and grandmoms have put us on a very strong platform. They, during their time, would have fought very pitched battles for issues that we take for granted today. The right to want to study, the right to want to work, the right to want to marry someone of their choice, and sometimes even the right to want to take decisions on behalf of their children who they brought into the world. So they have given us a strong legacy, and I think it's up to us to internalize the revolution and take it in the right way forward. I truly believe that the world is ready for us. The question is, are we ready? Do we have the skills, do we have the competencies to truly deserve a rightful place in the workforce? When young administrators join the service, I say young because in spite of all the kind observations made, I'm not so young anymore, I'm almost 40. And young administrators do ask me nowadays as to what I think are the attributes of a good officer. So I often try to tell them in simple words that one must begin by trying to lead the self. That's a very difficult task. It means having commitment to your goal, to what you want to contribute to your chosen field of work, to have a long-term vision of where you want to see yourself. And that involves consistency of thought. We may be flexible in the modalities, we may be flexible in the way we would like to achieve those goals, but consistency of thought is extremely important to leading the self. Good communication skills. Every time a leader speaks, he or she should hit target. That should be the impact of the communication skills. And of course, there has to be core integrity and courage to take a stand, to stand up for others who you think deserve that. And once, when you think that you have a grip on the self, then we may try and attempt to lead others. It means setting a direction. One can never forget that people come from different backgrounds, different prejudices, and getting them to commit to the common conscious is extremely important in order to achieve the objective that the team has set out to achieve. It means aligning your forces. I'm sure all the managers out here, the senior directors out here will agree with me that there are different skills in different people. Some people are good at strategizing, some people are good at supports and logistics, and some people are good at executing. So we must choose and align the forces in the right way. And sometimes there are people that you keep thinking hard, what are they capable of? Do they really belong to the organization? But that's where our skills as a leader comes to the forefront. Every human being has something to offer. It's up to us how to extract and how to make him or her a productive asset in the organization. So is it that easy? Is it that easy, ladies out here? We learn to lead ourselves, lead others, and are we, assured a sure shot success in our careers? It's not easy. Very true. But I would also like to say here that the obstacles in the obstacle course is something that you need to be conscious about. You need to negotiate. And largely it has to do with our own conditioning. I say this with whatever little experience I have seen of different women in different organizations, that women sometimes hesitate to take on new responsibilities. We often underestimate our own abilities. We often think when a new responsibility is assigned that we don't know how to do a particular job. But let me tell you that that might be an advantage. Learning to do it your way, going away from the beaten track, may actually yield better results. So never be afraid to take on new responsibilities. Also, in a study involving certain HR organizations, a very interesting bit of trivia was shared. And it says that, with due respect to all the men here, that men tend to overestimate their potential, whereas women try to underplay their abilities. And that's the reason why women are often promoted based on their past achievements, and men on perceived potential. So this is where we need to think straight. Not only must you achieve, but you must also not hesitate to demand your rightful place in organizations, because recognition is an extremely important cornerstone of personal growth and career advancement. You must learn to keep yourselves motivated. And the third obstacle, which across the world is the most challenging one. I'm sure all the ladies out here would agree with me that the biological clock and the career clock are in absolute conflict with each other. That is the age when a woman is expected to have a family, to look after young children, and sometimes take on the responsibility of aging parents. It's also the time when organizations decide to either have you in or write you off. So that is something which we need to challenge ourselves with. And the only thing that I can say here is that by all means, when you need to take those decisions of raising the family, of taking a break, please do so. But don't leave mentally till you actually leave on that particular day. Be in your job, be consciously focused till the day that you're actually working. And when you are done with those responsibilities, don't forget to come back and join the workforce. We often complain that there are not enough women at the top, not enough leaders, not enough CEOs, not enough policymakers. The fact of the matter is that not enough women stay in the workforce to be able to reach those positions. So you must motivate yourselves to come back and let the job be interesting enough to hold your attention. So therefore, you must look at sectors which actually challenge you, which actually have the potential to get the best out of you. And here I think the role of policymakers, leaders, is extremely important. We must create the ethos and the ecosystem where women feel motivated to come back and contribute and grow. Again, a small snippet I'm sharing, I'm told in the Scandinavian countries, when an HR team looks at the promotion eligibilities of men and women, they often look at whether a man has availed his paternity leave. And if he hasn't, then eyebrows are raised. Well, I hope the day is not far when in India too, we have similar ecosystems in place where it is recognized and accepted that men and women have to share life's responsibilities equally, and that it should be a given. Here, in fact, I would like to share with you proudly an initiative of the Telangana government where it intends to support the livelihood loss caused to an extremely poor woman, maybe an agricultural labor, a coolie who goes to the fields and works. And the event of the time in her life when she's carrying a child, it is going to be compensated in the form of an incentive, which will be offered to her as a, you can say like a livelihood loss to support her, to allow her family to look after her, and also for the entire family to treat the childbirth as a happy event. It is going to be launched from April, and it will also cover critical events like immunization of the child, safe delivery for the mother, and other certain social indices which are extremely of concern to the world in general. So similarly, we must have better caregiving infrastructure in place in order to really create and encourage this kind of a ethos in place. Well, I think I've already overshot my time, but I'd just like to conclude saying that I'm extremely optimistic that the future is going to be a very exciting place. And in specific, it's going to be a very exciting workplace where caregiving and breadwinning will have equal respect, where a man will have the right to choose which role he wants to play without anybody questioning his manhood. And women will be represented at 50% at every level in every workforce. I hope the day is not far when we have 4,000 women scientists in DRDO as against your 7,000. I hope the day is not far when young women would want to fly the Sukhois and the Tejas, just like those bravehearts who got commissioned last year, Avani, Bhavana, Mohana, who proved to the nation that they are officers first and last, and that women have the emotional and physical stamina to lead men at war. I hope the day is not far when we have many more Tessie Thomases, a woman who doesn't believe in just breaking glass ceilings, but she blasts through them right into space. So wish you a great year ahead, and I hope that every day is a celebration of you as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a professional, and most importantly, as an individual. Wish you a very happy Women's Day, and thank you for this privilege.
Well, our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a well-known, award-winning journalist and was previously managing editor of WION News Channel and hosted India's only international primetime news show, Gravitas. Our next guest loves a good debate and has interviewed a huge range of political and well-known global industry figures throughout her time. She is now the managing editor of Network 18 Media and has her own show, Vantage, with Palki Sharma, to share the challenges and triumphs that have shaped her career, as well as the passion and the purpose of her storytelling. I'm now delighted to welcome on the stage, please give a very warm welcome to Palki Sharma, managing editor of Network 18 Media. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. This is very exciting you're here. Yes, please do take a seat. How does it feel to be in the other seat, answering the questions this time?
Well, I will be more sympathetic to my guests.
There you go.
Let's just say that.
Brilliant. Right. I wanted to start off with a tweet that I read online from you. And it says, I hope I live to see the time where the world doesn't need a Women's Day to recognize the place of women in society, and that empowerment doesn't come from marketing drives, fancy quotes, and cupcakes. Can you elaborate? I agree, by the way, but please do elaborate for us.
I will. Let me also first start by thanking Manoj and IGF for having me here and for us to be able to have a conversation like this. And I totally sort of stand by what I wrote, that cupcakes will not bring empowerment.
Definitely.
For empowerment, you need to be acknowledged for what you bring to the table, which women often don't. You need freedom of choice and freedom to express your opinion. You need financial independence. You need to be in control of your life. And I think being rewarded and being appreciated for what you contribute to this world, not just in terms of words, but I think in our world increasingly financially as well, is very, very important.
And that's something we're going to touch on a bit later on, because I know financial independence for you is a big passion sort of topic. As a very successful woman in journalism, sort of what challenges have you had along the way as a woman in journalism? Has it been quite an easy road for you?
I think the challenges for women are near universal, and they are industry agnostic. For journalists, the time that we spend doing our work the hours are longer. It's more demanding physically and mentally, and you find yourself in situations which are not always friendly. So yes, it can seem more daunting from the outside, but I think any woman who manages both home and work feels those pressures. Having said that, in newsrooms still are a man's world. I know there are a lot of women presenters, but the people who are making the calls are more men than women. And I think I was lucky to have had some good mentors and bosses along the way. But I wouldn't say that it's easy for anyone, for people in my team. And whatever I learned in my 2 odd decades, I make sure that the challenges I face are not the same ones that my team faces. I'm sure they have their own set of things to worry about. But I think what we need is more women leaders to be able to appreciate what women in the workforce anywhere go through.
And so, I mean, you've become, managing editor. You're managing editor of 2 networks now. So how has that sort of journey been as a woman? Have you had to fight your way to the top, or has it been quite a nice, supportive atmosphere in both networks?
This is not so much about the networks. It's about the industry that we operate in, I think. And this was famously said by someone else. I love to borrow the quote that women are judged on their performance and men are judged on their potential. So you always have to prove both to your bosses and to your teams that you're deserving of the seat that you have. And it's that much harder for any woman leader anywhere. So no, it's not easy. And sometimes you have to go against your basic nature and push for your case. Because I think a lot of women still believe that someone somewhere will recognize how talented they are and reward them. And it doesn't happen. And over the past few years, when I became a manager, when I started hiring people, I saw that, and I'm not saying it's a bad quality, but men were very forthright in asking for what they think they deserved and negotiating better for their salaries and for their designations. Women were they did not want to upset anyone. And I think that's how a lot of girls are raised. We need to change that, and we need to tell them that it's okay to ask for what you think.
I've heard that in so many industries, not necessarily just media, but yeah, we're always, we don't want to offend anyone, we're peacekeepers, and we never strive because it looks like we're being arrogant if we want something else, Yeah. But in actual fact, if you're doing exactly the same job, why shouldn't you? Exactly, if you have the same skill set. Let's go back to your journalism. What drives the passion and purpose in your storytelling? How did you get into the field of journalism?
I always say that journalism chose me. I was studying to do something else. I wanted to be a designer, but I somehow found myself writing for a local newspaper, and one thing led to the other, and then I was in a bigger newsroom. It was quite fascinating, so I stayed and did what I was doing. But I think I chose journalism after I took a break, and I did, because I don't know how much of Indian news or television news you guys have consumed, but it became a very, very crowded place. And the kind of storytelling that I wanted to do was not what I was doing, or so I thought. So I did take a break, but when I came back, I knew that I wanted to tell news stories, like stories that are palatable and accessible to people of a wide range. We have 400 news channels in India, but we did not have a global voice, as it were. So we wanted to tell our own story to the world and not depend on someone else to do that. And in my own small way, sort of, that's what I tried to do. We still have a long way to go, but I guess we've made a start.
You've done incredibly well so far, my goodness. So what about some of the big interviews? Can you share with us any of the big interviews or breaking news stories that have been memorable in your career that you've really enjoyed, or you were proud to be a part of that moment? There's been so many. Sorry, it's quite a difficult
there have
question.
Been so many. I think the big interviews, one of them I did in Dubai, that was Pervez Musharraf. He was the former president of Pakistan and the army chief. I think that was quite an interesting interview. I wouldn't say one story is more exciting than the other, because we tell the stories that excite us anyway. But of late, so last month I was in Israel just after the conflict began. The year before I was in Ukraine to see what was happening. And when you're there on the ground and you talk to people, then you get a perspective that you do not get while you're sitting in your studio. And you realize that it's so easy for us to sit every night and say, this is the death toll and this is what has happened and these are the trends. But when you've been there, then you see how it touches lives, and it can be very moving, and it shapes you as an individual. All of those things.
So being on the ground, I can imagine, is very, very different. Yeah, because we're just getting numbers, and you sort of become in tune to what you're sort of watching. And yeah, being on the ground and actually seeing suffering like that must be very, very different.
And sometimes you see a trend that is building. I think Me Too was one such movement of sorts that was supported a lot by the media. We did not have any ground reports, as it were, but there was, or the big anti-corruption movement that we had in India. When you're part of those events, then you see history shaping in front of your very eyes, and you feel that there has to be a bigger purpose to what you're doing than just telling the news. I mean, you're actually shaping your story and that of your country or your people.
You're making history at the end of the day, yeah.
Or you're chronicling it.
Chronicling your history, exactly. Let's go back to financial independence. So I was reading a staggering 62% of women, of Indian women, don't have a bank account. And you've been quoted as saying that financial independence or financial well-being is the key to women empowerment. So what does women empowerment mean to you, and why is that so important when it comes to financial independence?
I think 62, you said?
62%,
I thought 80% of Indian women have bank accounts,
okay.
but it's not as much as men, obviously, and it's better than the global average for India. But I think in India, or I don't know about other societies, but women have a way of saving which is not documented in formal structures. So we are the biggest consumers of gold, and that is a form of security for women, and they stash away some money, but that money is just there. It's not investment, it's just a saving for a rainy day, and it's their understanding of security. I think even for women who have jobs and who are earning their own money are not managing it. I have a friend who runs a podcast on financial advice, and she told me that a lot of middle-aged women in India are now being struck with 2 Ds, that is debt and divorce. And then when they're on their own with a big debt, they do not know, they've never managed their finances. And so she's telling them to take charge of, and it can't be so difficult. And I think financial literacy is a life skill that should be taught in schools to everyone. But especially to women, because we need to know what we're doing with what we have. So I think financial independence is very important, and we need to I guess, it's not on anyone's priority list, not that I know of. So
it's not, is it still something that's just sort of left behind?
Yeah.
Because as you said, there's financial independence, but then as you said, there's financial literacy,
Yeah.
which is completely different, I suppose. So it's instilling that at a very early age, isn't it?
Yes.
Other than financial independence, what else do you think is needed for sort of women empowerment when it comes to being more independent and becoming more, I don't know, independence, I suppose?
I think it would help to have more women leaders because they can inspire others. I think in schools and colleges, women tend to do better academically, at least in India they do, than boys. But then somewhere along the way they drop out of the workforce because their career cycle and their biological cycles clash, and a lot of them choose their family or whatever it is that they're doing, and that's their choice. But I'm saying that we don't have a pipeline of leaders to draw from then after a certain point. So we need that. We also need networks that support women to pick a career of their choice. There are old boys clubs. There aren't such clubs or groups for women that enable them to make the choices that they want and grow. And they typically do not get the kind of investment. There was a very interesting study that was done, I think it was in the US, where the same investment pitch was made in a man's voice and the same one was made in a woman's voice, and the one with the man's voice got more takers. So I think these are inbuilt biases, and it won't change overnight. And what we need to do then is to co-opt men and women in this journey of transformation, because we cannot change biology, but we can certainly transform our society and what it expects of us.
That's what we were talking about in one of the previous panels, actually, is like, do you think there should be blind pitching when it comes to entrepreneurship and trying to raise money? And as you said, a male voice got all the interest. So, I mean, obviously, it's a sad moment in time where you've got to do blind sort of pitching and things. But yeah, it's very interesting that the male voice got that through, though. Really interesting. What sort of education and policy needs to be further developed in order to sort of help promote more financial literacy from the bottom up, sort of within the education system? Do you think a lot more needs to be done? And what sort of active role would you like to see government sort of play to change the playing field?
Education policy, I'm not sure I'm the best person to talk about how it should change. Like I said, financial literacy should be introduced, but I was part of some conversations around G20 on women empowerment, and we had women leaders from various countries, all G20 members, in India a couple of months back, and ministers. And one of the interesting things that came out was STEM education, that more girls need to be encouraged to take up science, technology, engineering, and math, because the job market is going to change and it'll be more technology oriented. But I don't know if it's because of biases, I don't know if it's because women think or girls think that they will do better in humanities, which is okay if that's what they want to study. But there has to be an active intervention to encourage girls to pick up those subjects. STEM education is the way forward for them to be able to become more eligible for the kind of jobs that we'll have in the near future.
The future of jobs. Because I did an interview with I think it was the one of the chiefs of L'Oreal, and she was saying, more and more women and girls are going in STEM education, but a lot of them fall short after they sort of graduate and they get their degrees and they do quite well at it. They either fall short from sort of family pressures, you see, and so they can never extend their careers. So it's how to sort of balance that going through and past sort of higher education and actually putting it into practice as well is like apparently a very big thing as well.
And some of this data is very, very disheartening. Like the gender pay gap, for instance, the best agencies in the world say that it's going to take 136 years or 140 years to close that gap, which tells us how slow our progress is. A couple of years back, I remember there was a study that came out that said that women who do unpaid work or work at home, if that were to be quantified and paid for, it would be some $11 trillion. And if those women were to make a country, they would have the third highest GDP in the world.
My goodness.
So they are contributing, and if you were to add it to the contribution that is converted into money, then women would be contributing much higher to the global GDP. So I think that there needs to be more awareness to what women are bringing to society, and they need to be compensated for that.
100%.
Yeah.
Very well said. And very quickly, what would you say? I want to talk about who your role model is in a minute. But first of all, anyone that's sort of in our audience here today, or anyone watching online, of course, you've got a big online audience, what sort of words of advice do you have for sort of younger women that are looking to get into journalism that maybe you'd wished that you'd known before getting into this field?
I wished I'd known before getting into this field.
How would you have navigated it better, do you think? If that's possible, of course.
I don't know. You need to make the best case for yourself. You have to market yourself. No one else is going to do that for you, I think that. But my first advice to anybody would be to read and to educate yourself, because that's what is going to stand you in good stead, no matter what you do. And it's very important because, especially as journalists, we struggle with timelines. We are always faced with a stiff deadline, and we have to deliver. So it helps if you have some basic understanding of a subject, and you can't do it overnight. It's a process that takes years, and there is no shortcut to it. So you have to do it, and it can be daunting in the beginning, but eventually you're better off for it, and you like what you've done, the kind of work that you've put in. So I think it's very important to do your own reading, to research, to arm yourself with knowledge, because then you know that you cannot be shortchanged.
And journalism is not for the faint-hearted, is it?
It is not. It is not. It can be... you ask the junior-most reporters on the field, they're sent on they're usually given education or crime. That's where you start as reporters. And crime reporting can be tough because you're thrown into all sorts of situations. You see all kinds of scenes which can be blood-curdling. And initially, some of those stories stay with you for very long. Slowly, you become more cynical and you learn to process it, and you know that you don't have to become very emotionally attached. The first time I went into a refugee's house, it stayed with me for months. And then I had to learn to tell myself that I'm not part of that story. I can only tell the story, but I do not have to go and find a school for those kids.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm here for. So I think it takes time to become more rational about the subjects that you're dealing with. And they're not easy. I mean, you learn every day. And sometimes it's upsetting because when you're talking about stories like hunger, they're not as exciting as war. So you see people switching off mentally or physically. And that's not nice because you're telling about the hardships that a huge section of our population is going through. So I think the challenge is to make it more interesting and palatable and exciting. All stories are not like that, but that's what we do.
And at the same time, growing a very thick skin at the same time, exactly. And making sure that you're not a part of the story, you're telling the story, as you said, yeah. Very quickly, we've got 1 second to go, but I really want to know who your sort of inspiration is. Who do you look up to? And it's very important, as we were saying across this forum, that it's very important to have a role model and a mentor. So who is that for you?
For me, I think it's my mother. She got married at a very early age. She was studying and taking a formal degree till I was in high school. And she was doing it with everything else. And she was a teacher, she was raising us, and she was studying herself. And she's taught us to be true to our values and just take a shot and see where it takes you. So I think it takes a lot of grit. And I see, and her story is not unique, but that's I think what inspires me, and I hope that I can leave that behind for my own daughter. So I think she's always inspired me that way, and she's had a very positive approach to life, which is hard to emulate.
Really nice. We cannot thank you enough for making time for us here at the India Global Forum 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, Palki Sharma, thank you.
Join our global community of English learners, absolutely free. Download video transcripts, listen offline, start our beginner course, and join live classes with certified teachers. Access over 1,000 resources to improve your English faster. Everything's in one place, community.englishspeeches.ca. Let's speak English together.